Keep it short and sweet. I don't need the explanation. And the reason I don't need the explanation is because the person that you're telling it to, they don't need excuses. What they want to know is how you failed and what you did to recover from it.
Most pilots don't understand what career opportunities are available in the world of aviation. They're making career decisions based on advice from friends or posts on internet forums, meaning they are taking huge risks with their livelihood without having all the details. This podcast was created to help you understand the aviation industry so you can find your dream job. Let's get ready for Pushback. Here's your host and my dad, Nick Fialka.
Hey, pilot, welcome to Ready for Pushback. This is a great day for me. I'm sure that it is a great day for you. Why? Because you have found the best podcast in the podcast world. Well, I think so. And I am glad you're listening to me today. And today's conversation is based off of a phone call I got the other day. Here and there, I get these phone calls from pilots that are in the process of trying to get ready for their interview. And maybe they are just filling out their application. Maybe they have an actual interview scheduled. And typically, what people want to talk about when they hear that I work with Spitfire and that I'm an interview coach is they want to talk about their dirty laundry, the things that are hard to talk about. And I've done a couple shows about what it's like to talk about hard things. But recently, my experience has been that when somebody reaches out and they want to have a conversation about their history, they want to talk about a failure or an arrest or speeding tickets or what have you, a hard thing. And usually when I hear somebody talk about one of those things, they tell me, hey, I'm worried that I can't get hired because of this thing. And can you help me work through it? The first thing I want you to know is, yeah, most of it can be worked through. If you have some kind of arrest that contains violence or something like that, there's probably nothing we can do to help, because that right there will basically be a showstopper for almost everybody. Not everybody, but almost everybody. It just depends what it is. Moving on from that, if you have had a failure, things like that, the call usually goes like, I had this flight with this instructor. He didn't like me, and I was working on my no-flap landing, and this guy didn't like how I did this, or I was within tolerances, but he did this, and I was not able to be successful. And basically what they're telling me is that they are not taking any of the responsibility for what happened. And I'll listen, and people will drone on for 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 minutes about all these excuses. Basically, it's just a litany of excuses. And you've got to stop before you even call me. If you are going to talk to me about some kind of failure, I want you to be short and sweet. I don't care what happened. I don't care if the instructor was a jerk. I don't care if you had a bad day. I don't care if you ate Indian food and you were real farty and that really caused you to be able to not do a power off stall, whatever it is. I want it short and sweet. I want to know the facts. What happened? Well, I failed my CFI. I failed my multi-engine add-on. I failed my ATP check ride, whatever it is. It seems like the further down the path people get, especially if they're failing something at an airline and that's fresh for them, they want to explain. And what I want to tell you is keep it short and sweet. I don't need the explanation. And the reason I don't need the explanation is because the person that you're telling it to, they don't need excuses. What they want to know is how you failed and what you did to recover from it. I want to know, hey, I was in the simulator. I was on a check ride. The instructor gave me a V1 cut and I was out of tolerances. Since I was out of tolerances, I failed the check ride. I was able to fly it again the following day and pass it. Short and sweet. that's part of answering an interview question, but that's not all of it. But if you failed something, I've failed stuff. I failed a pre-stage check for my first solo. I failed 2 written tests when I was in ground school. They called it Aviation Pre-Flight Indoctrination in the Navy. We call it API. And I failed 2 tests. I got a 78 when you're supposed to get an 80. But guess what? I failed. I failed weather and I failed navigation. And it was not awesome. And I really was down on myself. But you got to say it like it is. You got to rip the Band-Aid off and just say what happened. In the interview, if you drone on and on about all the different things and why all the different scenarios and these excusable factors that you think where you were wronged or you could have done this or that or the other, or it was an extenuating circumstance or something to that nature, all of it tells me that you cannot take responsibility for your own actions. It doesn't matter if there were extenuating circumstances. I talk to my kids about this. I don't want to hear a list of excuses. What I want is clarity that, yes, I messed up. This is how I corrected it. And now in the interview portion of that, you're going to talk about what you learned and how you became a better pilot. And once you do that, you are showing some kind of self-awareness, something that shows me that you have clarity of thought to know that when you were 500 feet off and 20 degrees heading difference in a V1 cut, that you were able to see that that was a deviation. And from getting that deviation, getting the experience that you need to lock in the airwork to make it really, really good and to really crush the next V1 cut when it comes time around to do it again, that you have the ability to succeed and that you have the ability to learn from your failures. Now, this is where we get to a deeper part of it. And you'll often hear people talking about this, the fact that you need to talk about how you're better today after using the things that you've learned, and how you're going to be better at that airline using these skills that you've learned from your failure. So you take responsibility for your failure. You talk about how you succeeded in redeeming yourself from that failure and making yourself continue to move forward. You talk about what you learned from that experience and how you are going to make that airline that you're interviewing with better. And that is a recipe for a successful failure conversation. I think that I got frustrated. I have a list of solo episodes on my phone, and every time something catches my ear, I want to remember it. I drop it in this note. And I have had 6 or 7 conversations with people where I've gone back into my little notes on my phone and wrote something about stop making excuses. Stop making excuses. Stop making excuses. We all need to stop making excuses. In your personal life, in your professional life, I would like to really focus on keeping it short, keeping it sweet, talking about the things that you do to make yourself better and to make the people around you better. If you can do that, you're going to be successful. You're going to be able to move on. Know that even multiple failures are not going to hold you back. In this environment, they need pilots. And guess what? You happen to be a pilot. But if they're going to take a risk on you, they want you to be able to pass their training. And that's where the explanation becomes important. So think about that and internalize it. Keep giving me calls, but really focus on how you can keep it short, how you can keep it sweet, how you can have no excuses. If you can do that, you will be successful. And that's what I want from you. I want you to be successful. So do it. I think this is such an important topic. I hope that this has been helpful for you, and give me some feedback. Send me an email at podcast@spitfireelite.com. I would like to know what you think about this conversation, because I want to know if you have caught yourself doing the same kind of thing, ambling on, making excuses, not ripping the Band-Aid off and just being who you are. So send me an email. I'd love to chat with you. And until next week, we've got another interview episode coming up on Monday. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you on Monday.
Hey, before I let you go, I need to mention one thing because a lot of people are asking me, can you do anything? Can you help me with this? And the answer is yes. At Spitfire Elite, we will make more millionaires this year than Major League Baseball will make in the next 5 years. Our company actually does this. It's called Spitfire Elite Interview Consulting, and you can find us over at spitfireelite.com. Our clients, they call us the easy button for interview prep because everything you need to crush your interview is there in one spot. Whether it's application review or interview prep, all of it is covered. We've helped thousands of clients who are now flying at their dream jobs because our coaches gave them the one-on-one feedback that they needed to succeed on the biggest day of their life. The best part of Spitfire is our community. All Spitfire clients will get access to our private chats where they can work with each other and they can work with our coaches and get the latest information on all the airlines. If you'd like to make sure that you are 100% ready to go on your big day, there is only one choice. Everything you need is in one place, and I think it's pretty affordable. You'll have to take a look for yourself. Just go over to spitfireelite.com and check us out. Use the coupon code podcast and it'll save you 10%. And by the way, I will see you on the next episode. The statements made on this show are my own opinions and do not reflect, nor are they under any direction from my employer.